Good morning and welcome to everyone to another webinar proudly brought to you by Logisim. My name is Joe Lombardo and I'm the editor of the Logisim magazine. And co-hosting this webinar with me today is my good friend Kendrick Ng, who is a member of the Shippers Council under the Logistics and Supply Chain Management Society here in Singapore. Our topic for discussion today is addressing the need for digital control in cold chain shipping. And with us today, we welcome a team of experts from I.Q.A.X, Intelligence to Accelerate Transformation. And our panelists are Billy Lamb, who's a senior product manager, will be addressing the technical landscape of the solution. Tina Chow, a product manager, customer and technical issues. Kate Law, assistant manager, product architecture and design, will talk to us a bit about customer needs. And Rajesh Sidhu, senior manager, sales, who will be addressing the business and marketing considerations. Welcome to all of you to this webinar and to all the audience who have connected. And I hope that we will have some questions during the discussion. And my colleague, Kendrick, will be monitoring the questions, and we will have a couple of pauses during the discussion to ask the questions to the panel and get some interesting discussion going. So let me start off. The challenges of managing cold chain logistics is not a new one, but the complexities that are growing more and more inherently in the pipeline of managing cold chain are becoming many. So to kick us off in the discussion, I'd like to ask Rajesh, what is the problem in the market and what is not working?
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for having us on the webinar this morning. Well, to understand the problem, we need to have a bigger picture of what's actually going on in the market itself. I think it's fair to say that COVID dramatically changed consumer behavior. So 2 years ago, with most of the world in lockdown, people were confined to their homes and they shifted their purchases to online channels. Now, in addition to buying white and brown box goods, they were also buying increasing numbers of fruit, veg, juices, meat and seafood. Now, while it's always good to eat healthily, this put an incredible amount of pressure on supply chains. The supply chains themselves were struggling because of a lack of intermodal capacity, which led to increased rates. You combine that then with port and terminal congestion, and then you basically face a massive challenge in terms of getting your cargo to its destination on time and at the lowest possible cost. Now, add to that the need to get a refrigerated cargo to its destination, which is both time and temperature sensitive, and doing that at the lowest possible cost and as quickly as possible without compromising its quality or integrity. So as a result, what we're seeing is cargoes that don't get to their destinations on time. We're seeing cargoes that are lost or compromised, a challenge in planning ahead for these potential disruptions, a loss in revenue, and lost business opportunities and a loss of customer satisfaction and confidence. So to come to the second part of your question, what's not working? It comes down to three key issues. So the first one that we're seeing is that there's no singular view. There are countless tracking and monitoring devices out there on the market and countless platforms with which to monitor the data that's coming from these. Now, not everyone's running the same systems, and as a result, we struggle to get a consolidated view, which makes it even harder for the shipper to take control over any given scenario. Secondly, we have poor data quality. Some of the major issues that have been raised with us come down to incomplete data, delayed data, and data that's out of sync. And finally, it comes down to technology adoption. More often than not, shippers, carriers, and forwarders, they're very reluctant to take on new technology because they may consider the process complicated and convoluted. And I think it's fair to say, looking at what's going on out there today, that these guys all have enough on their plates without having to go through the rigmarole of implementing new technologies.
Great. Well, Raj, thank you very much for that opening statement, and certainly sets the platform for our discussion. So, Billy, coming to the technical side, people talk about technology, about IoT, about all sorts of fancy new applications. But what's leveraging IoT for the cold chain? What does it actually mean? And what is it different from what is existing today in the market?
Yes, Joe. Leveraging IoT for cold chain means a solution combining the hardware with the software platform to provide the cold chain tracking and monitoring capabilities for different transportation modes and at different level of details. such as at container level or individual cargo package level. A comprehensive IoT cold chain solution contains three major elements: data, prediction, and detection. Data comes to the first. Data is the key. So that data should be collected in nearly real time, no delay, accurate, and reliable. And the data coverage should be end-to-end over land and sea. Also, data should be transparent and fully controlled by the shipper. Second is detection. When disruption happens, it should be detected in time, correctly, no false alarming, to enable the shipper to bring the situation awareness. Third is the prediction. Provide 2-second advantage to enable the shipper to make the right decision at the right time. By leveraging IoT for cold chain, cargo owner, they know how well their product is being handled so that they can optimize the supply chain cycle. For equipment owner, they know how well their equipment is being used so that they can reduce the equipment maintenance cost effectively. I think this is what leveraging IoT for cold chain means.
Okay, that's a simple explanation. I quite like that. We'll come back to that later on, Billy. But let me turn now to Kate in terms of what is the customer saying? What are you hearing from the customer in terms of what they want? What are the issues?
Thanks, Joe. Cargo owner wants to know and control of their cargo. In river transportation, quality of the cargo is the focus, especially for the high-value cargo and temperature-sensitive cargo. Fresh products like food and vegetable cannot last long. So cargo owner wants the visibility, including location and temperature, so that they can do the condition monitoring. And they want to ensure the cargo is in the right milestone and right condition. Once they have the visibility, they want to control of their cargo. If there is any exception, they want to know it immediately, but not just informed by other people. They can do the corrective action and they can monitor until the problem is being resolved. So go back to your second question, that what are their issues? First, there are lack of visibility today. In river, it may take about 40 days for door-to-door transportation without the technology. Cargo owner can only identify the cargo quality once it arrives at its destination. So they may try to track the latest status from the multiple service provider on different transportation mode. But those are milestone updates with latency and performance issues. This incomplete data, outdated data, and multiple source data are limiting cargo owner to have a full visibility. So they cannot answer the question that, where is my cargo and who is taking care of it? Second, the cargo owner are being compromised in the disruption handling. With the after-trip data, cargo owner cannot respond or act on the exception. Everything is too late. So we keep hearing from our customer that they want a consolidated single view with complete data, undated data, and they want to do the real-time monitoring. They want to reduce the cost and minimize the risk. They also want a solution that is easy to implement and work with their existing hardware.
Right. Very interesting. Thanks for that elaboration. So can I ask then Tina on a similar question on customers' concerns, but what are the impacts that you see for them? And clearly, following on from what Kate was saying, the wish list and want list are many. But how will you digest those in terms of the impact? And I believe you also got a slide for this, Tina.
Thank you, Joe. I think there are three major areas that causing business impact to our cargo owner. Firstly, it is the unplanned cost increase, the unplanned transportation or related logistic costs. The port congestion has been a prominent issue in different parts of the world. Because of lack of ETA insight, cargo owners' operation and logistic plannings are in chaos now. They must keep driver and warehouse labor in standby so that they could react immediately once cargo is received. This labor inefficiency and increase of driver detention is a heavy burden to operation costs. Besides, the labor hours also increase because staff need to call different parties to find out shipment status and ETA. So this point one. Secondly, the degrade in quantities of goods and even worse, the OTIF penalties will be incurred. The on-time in full penalties would be incurred if commitment to consignee is failed. Delayed deliveries or any discrepancy with purchase orders, for example, the quantity or cargo condition, it may subject to monetary penalties charged back to cargo owner. After traversing the high seas, after delay for several weeks, you still have confidence on the cargo condition of your perishable foodstuff. Any temperature change to the fresh product impact quality of service delivered. Can you imagine 3% cost of goods will be taken away for the penalties? Of course, shippers, they may in place different contingency plan to prevent the penalties. However, it incur operation cost increase. So that's the point too. Thirdly, the compromised customer experience and satisfaction also impact a lot for our cargo owners because they are found too difficult to provide good enough customer service to their client. Themselves also lack of visibility on reefer cargo condition and arrival status, not to mention proactively update their client. So their clients become unhappy, it affects the trust and retention and then the business performance and growth. So that's the last point. So you can see that these three business impacts seriously affect the bottom line of profits and loss.
Right. Tina, where is the disconnect? So clearly, all three elements that you highlight are very important, and because they affect the P&L, very clear. But where are the biggest disconnects that you see in these three pillars that you've highlighted?
I think the biggest disconnect is customer they don't have the control right now.
Right.
Because they outsource their operation, so that they need to rely different parties to provide update themselves, or they try very difficult to track those information. Firstly, for shipment location, they need to call different parties to find out the latest status, or they just browse different sources. There's lots of manual work will be incurred, so inefficient. Besides, the information is factual, no predictive insight for their planning.
Okay.
And second, for the cargo condition, some of them, they may put the sensor to the container and it record the temperature and location along the ship. Cargo owner, they could take the sensor right after the whole trip. However, this information is not a real-time tracking, it's just data record. So cargo owner cannot react when disruption is happened.
Okay, clear. Thanks for clarifying that for me. So Billy, let's now deep dive into the solution, because clearly we've heard the customer's voice, the customer's concerns, the market issues. So let's now evaluate the solution. So if I were to ask you, how would you overview your solution? How would you actually explain to me as a shipper what the value of your solution brings, other than what we've already heard, but in more detail?
Okay, let me explain a little bit more on our I.Q.A.X solutions. Actually, our I.Q.A.X solution, we build a digital twins capability to correlate different information from different data sources. For example, we collect the location information from telematic device. We collect the condition data from the sensors. We collect the usage data from the mobile device or applications. All this information will be collected in real time. As well as we also collect the shipment information from multiple transportation service providers. And we collect the big data, for example, like weather, traffic, schedules from our technology partners. All this information will be harmonized by our AI engine and then make it to become a contextualized information with business meaning. And customer also have full control on all this contextual data. For example, they can download the audit log anytime, anywhere, to compromise, to formulate their compliance report to submit their USDA applications without waiting response from the carrier. Okay, and second, we will base on all these contextual informations, use the AI to detect the abnormal situations, filter out all the false alarms. So we help the customer to find out the real situation and real disruptions, so they can focus and respond to them. And we also use the smart alert to identify the right party should we handle these disruptions, and then notify them immediately. Okay, this is how we identify the problems, and this is not at the end. We will provide the predictive insights to let the customer to make the right decision at the right time. For example, We provide the predictive new ETA to help the user to handle the disruption in time and effectively. This is how the I.Q.A.X solution do. I will summarize that I.Q.A.X solution actually have 4 essential capabilities. The first one is one-stop total solution to enable the multi-modal door-to-door reefer shipment visibilities. Second is full control on transparent and contextualized data by the shipper. The third is intelligent to detect the disruption and notify the user immediately. The last is automate the workflow and streamline the executions. So come to your second questions. What is the value we create? We create 3 major values. The first is to let the user know everything about the shipment over land and sea. The second value is gain situation awareness. The third one is enable to react disruption with better contextual information and respond with agility.
Thanks for the overview, Billy. I quite understand the 2 blocks, the capabilities and the value. But in the middle there, as a shipper, what would I have to do to gain this advantage? You talk about the I.Q.A.X cloud, digital twin, intelligence box in the middle there. Would that be the control I have by getting that center stage? Is that the platform that gives me the control to connect all the areas that you were just describing?
Yes. Unlike the other solutions, we are providing our sensor to the shipper, so they can attach on their cargo level or on their cargoes or their containers, and then activate it. We will collect the data. All the data will be stored in our cloud. So all the contextualized information is fully controlled by the shipper.
Yeah. Great. So staying on this chart a moment, Rajesh, if we talk about giving the customer this type of visibility, control, and also alluding to the point that Tina, you made earlier on, that in fact customers need to have control because they don't have control today. Is this what control means? I mean, what benefits more could a customer want more than this? And does this fulfill the market requirement?
Absolutely. That's a good question, Joe. I think we talk about the element of control so much. I think we've got to look at things that are outside of the customer's control at the moment. You look at the backlog of ships that are waiting to berth outside of these Western ports in America. I know that Eastern ports are now starting to clog up as well. So there are only so many things that you can control. You can't control the amount of congestion. You can't control the amount of capacity. These things are out there. But what the customer does want to do to benefit itself as a business is actually the ability in which it can cut costs, grow revenues, and increase profitability in the light of all these challenges. So coming back to those points that I had mentioned earlier, having that single view and control over data, resolving the poor data quality, and having the technology, most importantly, that's easily implemented, are the main benefits that this would actually bring to the customer. What we're effectively talking about here, Joe, is allowing, and as Tina had mentioned earlier on as well, there are so many sources of data and there are so many people that are responsible for providing those particular sources of data. And one of the things that we're finding our customers face is that they're not getting that data on time. So by using these capabilities, they're able to actually regain control. They can take it back. They don't have to wait till the end of a particular shipment, 40 days, like Kate mentioned, to find out at the end that they've got a rotten consignment of potatoes, for example.
Sure.
They can get that regular update. So I think this is the level of control that we're talking about.
Yeah. So Tina, earlier on, you talked to us about the issues the customers facing, the customer concerns. Would these areas be something the customer would be able to control? Because clearly today, this is outsourced to their service provider. And it seems to be that because of the outsourcing trend and because service providers are in possession of this platform and information, the ship has no control. So isn't it a big paradigm shift to actually say to the shippers now, hey guys, you outsourced, you lost control. To regain control, you've got to now get on board with this type of platform. Is this the thinking that the customers are actually with, or do we have to re-educate the customers in this direction?
Yes, I think the I.Q.A.X solutions can enable our shippers to just bring better controls because, as you mentioned, they outsource their operation and they just lost the control because they just wait for somebody else to tell them the knowledge. But with solution, we enable them to gain the control in their own hands with full visibility at real time, because they don't need to wait for someone to gain the knowledge of what had happened. I think they would able to have their own accuracy, their own reliability, their own dependability, and their own benefits, all in platforms. And by regaining the control, the shipper therefore will have their independency, agility in their way of working, and their robustness handling the situation. Just no need to wait for someone, just some excuse. And having these first-hand tools, they still have to control, even outsource their operation.
Okay, good. Listen, we come back to that point because you touched on a couple of issues I'd like to pick up on. But let's take a break a moment and ask the audience well, let's see what the audience have asked questions. And so Kendrick, can you help us relay the questions to our panel?
Sure. So there was a question with regards to I.Q.A.X seems to be focused on ocean and reefers. So if this shipper primarily moves a lot by air, right? So is I.Q.A.X still an option? And how would you have I.Q.A.X as an option for this shipper that moves majority by air?
I think I.Q.A.X solution are not just on sea, but actually we are end-to-end, door-to-door. So any transportation mode the shipper using, they still could use our I.Q.A.X solution. It will help them to get the visibility in nearly real time.
And I also want to supplement on that. Actually, our solutions, we have intelligence to connect different transportation modes. For example, from truck to vessel or to sea, or even though the truck to the air, we have the intelligence to connect these two transportation modes together. As what I mentioned before, we collect different shipment informations or transportation information from our transportation providers. So we can merge all them together to provide the door-to-door visibilities.
Okay, good. I think your answer is clear. I have another. With regards to cybersecurity, we know that I.Q.A.X have this platform to bring all the data together. So how secure is your platform? What cybersecurity measures are in place to ensure that the right information from the devices captures this data, fits into I.Q.A.X that are secure and protect the shipper of any cyber risk?
Okay, let me try to answer it. Actually, we have different level of security control. First is on the data level. The data we collect from the device, we will encrypt it directly on the device. And then all this encrypted data will through the VPN, on encrypted channel, sent back to our cloud platform. And our cloud platform also have different level of security on user informations, the data decryptions, and also another security control, another data security between our platform to the user's client end. So the end-to-end, the whole path, all the data has been secured and protected.
Yes, and I would like to supplement that our solution is on cloud. And the shipper, the user, they need to log in with their private assets. Everyone got a private ID, and they could able to see their own data, and only able to they could try to manage the assets, the data, what data they would like to see to share to somebody else. So I think it is quite secure.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we have the smart alert. Smart alert will identify the right people. So we only will display the right information to the right party without sharing all the information to all different stakeholders along the supply chain cycle.
Okay, good. So there's one more question by Charmaine. Thanks for sending this out. There are many OEM refer systems, and most shipping lines already carry these brands. So is I.Q.A.X able to aggregate all the data from these different refer systems onto its platform?
Yes, I think I would like to emphasize that as Billy mentioned previously, the I.Q.A.X solution, we are able to integrate with different data source. For example, the ERP or any other data, cargo tracking data, shipment data. So it's able for I.Q.A.X solution to integrate them all together. Because I think shipper, cargo owners, they got the individual information, right? They got their data that would like to bring into the platform so that the whole big data integrate together to see the insight, right? So I.Q.A.X solution is able to provide such capability.
Absolutely. Just to add to that as well, it comes back down to the point that we mentioned earlier about the market being reluctant to implement new technologies. If they've already got them out there, if someone's installed a sensor on a reefer, the beauty of what we're offering to the market, Kendrick, is the fact that wherever they might happen to be in their technological journey, we're able to actually offer a solution that they can implement with ease and quite quickly.
Right. So I mean, the question to Charmaine also the answer to Charmaine will be, get an appointment with I.Q.A.X team, and I think once you are put together, the more direct solutioning can be addressed as well, right?
Absolutely.
Great. So over back to you, Joe.
Thank you, Kendra. It was a great discussion. Thank you for the questions from the audience. I want to pursue this point because my next question to Rajesh and Kate is exactly that. How does such a solution bring value to a customer? And let me expand the moment on integration, because I know that many shippers are concerned about integration because it means integrating many suppliers, but more importantly, it's integrating your internal systems. Now you hear digital twinning, you hear about firmware, you hear about all sorts of gizmos to integrate your platform. And not only can be complex, but also expensive. Tell us a bit more about how integration works, Kate, in terms of picking up the information from your internal system, your ERP, and into the platform. But then also, please explain to us how small logistics providers could help interface. For example, Billy was talking about multimodal, train, truck, ship, air. And you may have small operators there who may not be digitally savvy, but need to interface. So talk to us about integration, how that helps to understand from a shipper point of view how that would work.
Yes, Joe. We know our cargo owners are very busy, so we provide different integration methods for them to provide us the data. Like we can integrate directly with the service provider, and we can also send the provided device to the cargo owner so that they can just put the device on their cargo. Taking the cargo monitoring as example, right. When they place the order, we will just take as short as 1 day to deliver the device to them, and then they can just put the device on their cargo. It is plug and play, so they can start to monitor their cargo, and we integrate with different service with different carrier and different rail. Our platform can help them to get the vessel information, like the different milestone of their container, and we will integrate the IoT data with those shipment integration into one single platform. So they don't need to track in multiple service provider, and they just need to see all the information in our platform.
Okay. And what about integrating shippers, logistics providers, truckers who maybe don't have that technology capability? Is that transparent? They don't have to worry about that investment, or how does it work?
They don't need to worry about the back end because we already built the digital twins, and it's already well integrated with different carriers. Okay.
So building the digital twin, is that complicated for a shipper, or is it quite straightforward?
Yeah, it is transparent to them. We apply the digital twins technology, and it already gathered the big data information like the vessel route, vessel schedule, and other weather information. All information will integrate in our platform as the back end to support the cargo owner. Right.
Rajesh, earlier on, you talked about managing reduced capacity, managing the visibility, looking at reduction of costs or containment of costs. Explain to us how this solution helps in that direction. Now, clearly there are so many variables in the equation that you can't mitigate everything, but what are the key takeaways that you would explain to us as being the benefits coming out of this?
Okay, thanks, Joe. I suppose it comes down to getting your cargo to its destination without compromising its quality, and getting it there at the quickest time possible and at the lowest possible cost. So in terms of what kind of benefits we're actually able to bring to the market with the solutions that we're offering, security is a big one that's been flagged up to us, in terms of being able to be notified in a reliable manner of any potential security breach that might impact on your cargo. So you can actually take corrective action where that might be possible. The other side is in terms of risk management and compliance. Now, looking at the fact that you have over 60 vessels off the Port of Long Beach waiting to berth, the other side of things that you can do is use our solutions to actually help you with that downstream logistics planning. So so if you know for a fact that your vessel isn't going to be able to berth for another week or 2 weeks, don't deploy those resources now. They'll just be there. So you're just going to save yourself money in terms of doing that. In terms of the cost reduction element as well. So again, looking at the things that our customers can control, you can use predictive analytics to basically monitor the reefer components to look down the line and see, well, actually, there might be something that's about to fail there. So we can actually take action now and avoid the costly maintenance later down the line. I suppose the most important thing we're talking about refrigerated cargoes is temperature deviations, which Kate has a lot more insight on.
Yes, our solution provide all-rounded condition monitoring and smart alert detection to help them to identify the real problem. A customer shared to us that they are shipping the frozen lamp from New Zealand to Europe, and the temperature of the cargo is rising from -20 degrees to -12 degrees. Then they finally cannot meet the EU compliance and be in total loss. With our solution, we help them to monitor the temperature. And once the temperature is out of the range and there are unexpected power outage, we will notify them immediately so that they can regain the control of their cargo and their disruption handling.
Okay. Look, before we go back to the Q&A, because there's some questions coming from the audience, I want to come back again to the point of security. And there was a question earlier on about data security. So why are people concerned about security when today the service provider is handling your data and the security exposure is the same? Why should a platform like yours be a concern of security? If anything, it should be a stronger security than having it outsourced. What's your thinking on this? If I can ask Rajesh, Billy, whoever would like to make a comment on that.
I think the reason why that the customer is concerned about securities, they are more focused on the data securities, because all the data, especially for IoT, they are real-time data, right? So it implies, if you associate with the shipment, it implies that they know where is your high-value cargo is now being handled or where are they. So that will create another concern for them. So this is the reason why that I.Q.A.X solution, we are very focused on the security and control that part to make sure all the privacy and all any security issue that may relate to money cost, and then we will well protect them and make the customer more comfortable.
To add to Billy's point there as well, Joe, I think obviously with what's going on with COVID, there's an increasing amount of pharmaceutical product that's being shipped at the moment as well, which is we've seen around the world. You want complete visibility on what's going on with that throughout the entire supply chain. So people do want that added layer of security. They want that added dimension of security. You buy a house and the doors all come with locks, but you'll still probably put a chain or something on there just as an extra kind of measure, an extra guard. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of additional security in this case.
Sure. Great. Okay, well, thanks for answering those questions. There's a lot more questions coming through from our audience, but I want to just go now, maybe just take a moment to summarize this. And I think we have a chart to share. So I want to summarize the topics, the discussion we've had so far, and then we can open up again to the audience. So if I could basically go through this, you guys have summarized the 4 pillars of the discussion. Maybe we can go through and just summarize some of the points that you were talking about. Then we can open up the discussion to the audience again.
Certainly. So in terms of just going through the problems that we've mentioned that the shippers are experiencing at the moment, I'm not going to repeat what's on the actual chart there itself because you've all got access to that. But I suppose it comes down to what are the benefits that people can actually derive and what they stand to lose by not taking advantage of these solutions that are on the market now that we're actually offering. So some of the areas that we're looking at is in terms of competitive advantage, being able to basically provide a service that goes above and beyond what your customers are actually offering at the moment. Now, I think we're in a real kind of fickle market at the moment. One of the things that gets thrown around a lot at the moment is the Amazon effect, where you basically have that end-to-end visibility. The end customer is checking their phones, they're checking their desktops, they're checking all the information that's coming through to them. If they're not getting a satisfying answer from their carrier or their 3PL provider or their forwarder, they'll look at the alternatives, and it is a very competitive market out there. So by virtue of having a solution that we're offering with I.Q.A.X Focus, it does give you that competitive advantage.
Okay. But, we've talked about the problems, we've talked about the impact, talked about the solution. The enablement is a very important pillar in this chart. And maybe that's the concern that shippers have, understanding how to enable the solution, how to leverage on the solution. Can we maybe talk a bit more about enablement, how you help customers, as you say, know everything about your shipment, situation awareness, but what more would a customer need to equip them to feel more comfortable to move towards this platform, this solution?
All right. Actually, how we can do all these enablements. We have the platform, we collect different informations, and then we harmonize them to be a contextual information so that to allow the customer to know everything about the shipment end-to-end over the land and sea. This is what I mentioned before, full coverage, real-time, reliable information. And then also the customer have full control on it. With all our AI detections, we can detect the real disruptions so that the customer can gain the situation awareness. And last, we also provide the predictive insight, like what I mentioned before, the predictive ETA to facilitate the customer to respond and react to the detected disruptions, so they can handle it effectively. This is how we use our platform to make those enablements.
And to add to what Billy said there as well, I think the important thing is that because we have an extensive customer base, we've been in the market, and we have a lot of heritage and background in this industry, we have countless case studies, we have countless experience of what to do in the event of something like this happening. So we want our customers to realize that they're not just there in the dark, that we're not just going to give them that data and not give them ideas and insights on how to utilize and maximize it. So that's another layer to what we offer as well.
Great. Okay, listen, I'd like to open up the questions again. Kendra, could you help us go through the questions? I see some really good points coming through here to what we've been discussing.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so one of Vino will like to understand a bit on how would the IoT device feed be captured while the cargo is in transit. So example, we know that while this is sailing, it's not good communication. Do you all communicate through, say, example, satellite, or do you have some special GSM type of solution in mind?
I think our solution have both of them, and we could just get the data in real time, and any condition we could monitoring well, and we just provide a real alert, not the false alarm, real alert to our shipper and consignee, so that they could just react immediately and gain the solution awareness to decide what is the next step. So. But for what you mentioned, we support both to provide the data to our customer in real time.
Okay, good. So to assure but I know is that it's real time. You will have good insights, and it will not be interrupted even though it's sailing. Here's also another question. Billy mentioned a bit about predictive analytics, right? So how does this platform provide that insight back to the shipper? Is it after it finishes end-to-end journey, or during the journey? What do you maybe you can share a bit more?
Okay. First, that is not after the shipment. All the data will be processed in real time. So all the predictive insight will be provided immediately. For example, like I mentioned before, the predictive ETA. You know that when the traffic pattern is changed, so the ETA will be changed time by time. So we will continue to predict the ETA. And come to your second question, elaborate more how this predictive insight can help on the customers or help during the trip. For example, if there's a temperature deviation during land side, the temperature deviation happen on the land side. Okay, and then our intelligence will predict that, okay, this disruption is happening on the land, but not on the terminal or vessel. So it will identify the correct party. They will inform the warehouse instead of inform the terminal. And also in the notification, we will use the predictive information, the predictive insight, that is the updated ETA or the latest ETA we base on the current traffic situations. And this ETA information is very useful for the warehouse because they can base on this updated ETA information to prepare their QC resources in case there are any temperature disruption is already happened during the road. So this is how we put everything together: visibility, detection, and prediction all together to help the customer to find out the problem and respond to it to make the right decision.
Yes, I would like to supplement one more case that the predictive insight will help to minimize the unplanned logistic costs. As I mentioned previously, that the warehouse labor, they need to wait for a long time, right? Because they don't have the predictive insight on when is the cargo is arrived. After they got this insight from the I.Q.A.X solution, I think they just can have a very better, good planning so that they just able to know, when the cargo will be arrived, then I will just put the labor to stand by at that time and no need to wait for so long and increase the driver tension.
Okay, great. Thanks for your answer. There's one comment and followed by question will be the comment is the challenge of integration is not just about linking the systems and the data structure, but really understanding the difference in the data context and the usage. So beyond this issue, how does I.Q.A.X address from a methodology perspective and how the system and the data integration is required to be tailored specifically to the shipper's needs?
Big question.
Yeah, it's quite a deep question, but I did ask for more details, like whether there's a case study or what specifically he may be looking at, but he has not replied yet. But anyway, if you can just broadly give an answer, that will be helpful.
Yeah, okay. When we design the application, actually, we are not just inside-out design. Actually, based on our background that Raj mentioned before, we are from this industry, so we have very deep domain knowledge, all the operations process and how the user will get benefit from it. So that we can develop our application and trial one with in our environment with our internal user or all the subject matter experts. We can identify any unsmooth point and then refine it and then keep on different experiments to make sure that the whole system is fit into the industry, fit into their workflow process. This is how we work and how we make our applications.
Absolutely. And just to add into to what Billy said there, our expertise is driven and shaped by the heritage of our parent company, or OCL, which is over 50 years old. So, and it's one of the largest container lines. So my colleagues around me, our colleagues at I.Q.A.X. and in the company overall, we have decades of domain knowledge and experience in providing these reliable, proven, and kind of robust solutions to the supply chain ecosystem. So we know our customers, we know the market, we know what challenges they're facing. So even though our solutions at this stage may come across as a kind of one-size-fits-all, I want to assure you that we are very focused on delivering a very tailored service to each and every one of our customers. If there's anything that we don't know, we'll learn it. So that's enhanced answer to your question there.
Yeah, and I'll repeat the answer to John is that if you have specific needs, then please reach out to I.Q.A.X. There will be an email at the end of this webinar. Okay, over back to you, Joe.
Thank you. So I think that was a very good discussion. So for anyone who wants to contact I.Q.A.X. to discuss this further and elaborate some of the details, because clearly there's a lot of details in the question and we can't address every single detail generically, it would be very useful for the I.Q.A.X. team to hear from you and understand what are your challenges and how IoT can leverage to improve your cold chain logistics management. That'd be very useful. Now, clearly, the discussion is very interesting. It's unending, but what the message the panel brings to us is that technology is now available. It's not difficult to implement. It brings many, many benefits. So why wait? What are we doing? Why are we waiting? What are we waiting for to implement this solution? It certainly is a growing problem and much more complex. I hope we've discussed at least an appreciation of what is available and how we can progress and manage these challenges. So as time now is pressing, I need to wrap up this discussion. So I really very much thank the audience for their questions and encourage them to take up their interest further beyond this webinar. So, dear panel, thank you very much for your insights and discussions. Now, before we close, I'd like to ask each of you for your takeaway comments about such a solution, such an application, and how to alleviate shippers' concerns that maybe it's complex, maybe it's expensive, maybe it's too difficult. Maybe if I make a change, I might upset my service provider. Maybe I might upset my boss. Maybe I might upset the IT guys in the organization. These are all the concerns that go around people's minds. But we very much would like to hear your takeaway comments from this discussion.
You can take back control over the visibility of your cargo, and you can do it as little as a day.
Okay, so you can take over control without any headaches and problems. Thank you, Kate.
Absolutely. And I suppose it's never too late to change. You can invest in the technology now and avoid any potential consequences in the future.
Excellent.
So in these challenging times, show your customer that you are reliable, dependable, and accurate.
Reliable, dependable, and accurate. Wow, that's really a good summary. Okay. Billy, final word to you.
Yes, I.Q.A.X. focus gives you the competitive advantage to make the right decision at the right time.
I.Q.A.X. gives you the competitive advantage to make the right decision at the right time. Excellent. Okay, great. Kendrick, any final comments from you to the panel?
Oh, wow. I mean, I think that I.Q.A.X. solution is really great, and hope that the shippers out there will be able to embrace the technology and don't be shy to reach out to them, for they have a lot of solutions waiting to really make things work. Right. Good job, guys.
Well, again, thank you very much, Kendrick, for your final comments. Thank you all the audience for your questions and your participation. We appreciate it. Billy, Tina, Kate, and Rajesh, thank you very much for your time and insights into sharing with us some complex issues, but maybe not as complex as people make out to be. You have made things a bit simple. You've explained to us in a very clear and understandable way that really technology is there for taking. And if you don't take it, it is your problem, your fault. And therefore, the shippers should take note of that people like I.Q.A.X are there to help shippers improve and take advantage of what's there to give you competitive advantage. Thank you very much. It has been a great discussion. Unfortunately, time is running out. So I bid you all farewell. Stay safe, take care, and to the next time. Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.